A warm welcome, literally and figuratively, here in the Hill City. Temperatures in the low 80s. It's another ODAC competition between the Lynchburg Hornets and the Roanoke Maroons. These are two squads that might have not delivered on expectations early in the season. They're looking to flip their records around, and we know this is a big one when you look at the middle of the ODAC table heading into October. My name is Evan Gates alongside my very good friend Kyle Haney. And Kyle, it just feels like game after game, it just keeps becoming even more important at this stage of the season.
Partner, we do have those warm temperatures. It's a day game. Last time we were under the lights on Wednesday. We will revisit that game. That was a wild one, a 3-2 loss for Lynchburg against Washington and Lee, who is an ODAC rival, but that was actually not a conference game. This one is, so the stakes are just a little bit higher between Roanoke and Lynchburg today.
Well, two geographic rivals that span just over an hour apart, and we know that this is a game that is a lot of history. Phil Benny for Roanoke in his 36th season, Coach Todd Olson for Lynchburg in his 31st, so a lot of history between these two squads, and we understand that this is going to be a very crucial matchup, and Kyle will go ahead and dive into some of the stats, but it really just feels like these two teams have had such different seasons thus far.
Great assessment by you. Lynchburg 4-4-1. I think it's a bit under their expectations. For Roanoke, an almost shocking 1-5-2. The one win was against Sweetbriar at Roanoke, an 8-0 drubbing there for the Maroons. So some of their season stats are a little bit skewed, but you see the comparisons there. Lynchburg 5 shutouts. I mean, you've got to feel really, really good about that, giving up less than a goal and a half per game for the Lynchburg Hornets. And I'm sure some of those stats will be involved in your gateways to the game there, Mr. Evan.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the keys to the game. Middle of the season, they start to become a little bit clearer, and here in the 31st meeting, it starts with carrying momentum for Roanoke. Kyle, you mentioned it in that first win of the season. It felt like all the offense that was supposed to happen in those first few games was in one. And with 8 goals, 7 of which were assisted, you got to have confidence, as well as preventing set pieces. Lynchburg, in that Washington and Lee contest, really used their corners well. They almost had one at the end of the match to equalize and make it 3-3, but unsuccessful, and the Hornets fell. For Lynchburg, it's about winning the 50-50s. This midfield is going to be so crucial in a game that comes down to the hustle plays as well as re-energizing. They almost equalized at the end of that Generals contest, as we just mentioned, and it feels like at the end of the game there was such a different wave from this Lynchburg squad in those last 10 minutes. They have to get it done early, though, against Roanoke.
I think you're exactly right. And how do you deal with that roller coaster of emotions that they went through on Wednesday? Because they're down, they're back in it, they get close. You get so close, then it's deflating when you don't get that late equalizing goal. So I'm sure they had a great couple days of practice to bounce back on Thursday and Friday. Hopefully you flush that from your system, take some positives. Interesting, you were pointing out, Dr. Todd Olson says his team needs to be a bit more energetic for the full 90. Try to not just play hard in those spurts, which we saw from Lynchburg on Wednesday, but play hard both halves, try to get it done in a way that you can sustain. I mean, yes, you can't go so fast, you burn out early, but try to keep the energy level really high all game long.
Well, you see it on the screen, 497 career wins for Dr. Todd Olson. He's approaching 500, a chance to do it at home coming up. But obviously, if Lynchburg wins their next 3 matches, which includes today, he would do it on the road. I think he would prefer that over waiting, but we'll have to see what the Hornets and the Maroons have in store. So, captains are meeting, lineups will be announced, and we will be back after the national anthem. A beautiful day from the 4-3-4, and so much in store here on Schellenberger Field.
be a physical therapist probably starting about halfway through college. I love the concept that exercise is medicine. We're starting to discover that exercise really can remedy many of the things that we thought that only surgery or only drugs could remedy in the past. When the student comes here, it's because we believe in them, it's because we want them here, it's because we believe they'll be successful. The faculty here are devoted to their development, not only academically but also professionally. We're not so inundated with things that we don't have time to make students one of our highest priorities. We have your back. We're gonna help you through that. If you're willing to work, then we're willing to put the work into it and the effort to help you succeed.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Want to have some outdoor adventures while getting a degree at the same time? At the University of Lynchburg, we have an on-campus zipline and road course. Plus, we offer adventure trips that cost less than a cup of coffee. And did I mention our beautiful scenery? We're a university for students looking for something more than just books. Welcome to your new adventure experience.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
I was really attracted to Lynchburg primarily because my dad went here. He is an alum, so I kind of had that close tie of being interested in this school. And the school had what I wanted to study. I knew I wanted to help people in the area of health and wellness, so the health promotion program was definitely a program that drew me in, and from day one I've been in love with it, and I wouldn't have chosen any different. I have never had better professors or teachers in my life, and I think here at the University of Lynchburg, the professors definitely care about their students, especially in the health promotion department. These professors want you to be educated, want you to have the experience, and just want you to feel confident going into your career path following your collegiate education. You just feel like you're cared for here and that you matter, and that no matter what, at the end of the day, you're going to be successful, and the people here really want to be here, and everyone has a purpose, and it's just a great environment to be in.
Football has taught me a lot throughout my life. It's definitely had a huge imprint on who I am as a person. Competing at a Division III level created that opportunity for me to go to college.
Another look at Schellenberger Field as we get things underway in a beautiful day, a beautiful Saturday in Lynchburg. Another very filled day of sports on Schellenberger Field. This is the second of 3 games. We saw field hockey win earlier versus Rowan in a 4-3 affair. This women's soccer squad trying to replicate the efforts. As we take a look at the players to watch, it starts with Lynchburg and Megan Lauder, number 8 in white today. She has been so impressive throughout her career when you look at last season leading this team in goals, but a slow start to this year. She missed her first 11 shots, unable to convert. She has converted on her last 2 in a big way looking to continue the momentum.
Yeah, really great goal for her on Wednesday against Washington and Lee. A header, very confident, composed. She was in that zone where sometimes you think about maybe trying to go with a volley or even a half volley on one bounce. Instead, she played the aerial game, played it perfectly for the second goal of the season.
And looking at the other side, it's number 4, Rebecca Carr, the sophomore from Springfield, Virginia, the reigning ODAC Rookie of the Year, and also a third-team selection. She's going to try to get things done in a big way and had not tallied a goal until that Sweetbriar affair, but she does pound a couple in the back of the net, and we know that she is constantly running, looking to find it as well.
Yeah, high-volume shooter, 34 shots on the season in 8 contests, so almost 4 shots per game. She's going to get touches. She's going to be dangerous. Definitely one that we are watching, and you know she's been circled on the Lynchburg scouting report as well.
Well, looking further down this Roanoke lineup, we'll go ahead and read their starting 11. It's Rebecca Carr, MC Petroselli, and Brooke Nicholson up front. Lauren Rubino, Emily Moffitt, Jenna Wadden, Casey Schmidt, and Michaela Metzler in the midfield. And then Bree Fulkerson with Kennedy McAuliffe in the back. Grace Sushi gets the start in goal, and we know that despite Roanoke having trouble early in the season, she's going to be a big contributor, and she has a very elevated role this year, Kyle.
It's been always an interesting deal with your teams at this point in the season because you are kind of getting into the mid-season phase. We're in October, starting to learn more about your team and the rotations, but you still don't quite have your finger on that sometimes. Players play well in practice. You want to give them a chance. Sometimes they prove you right in the game, sometimes not.
And for Lynchburg, we look at their side, very familiar in their lineup. One change as Morgan Oliver is inserted into the midfield. Rest of the starting 11 is Megan Lauder, Madeline Boyce, Lauren Orner, McKenna Dom, Liliana Siragoyen, Laura Grokowski, Haley Casey, Claire Lloyd, Sammy Rockstad, and Meredith Bowers in goal. Just about time to get started right at 4 o'clock. Up and away we go. The Maroons will maintain possession to begin this one. And as we said, a hot one. The turf won't exactly help that out, but we know that these two teams really want to get off to hot starts as well.
Yeah, back over 80 degrees today after, being rainy for about 2 weeks here in Central Virginia. I think the fitness won't be in question at all, but I imagine by the end of the game, both these teams are going to tell you they're pretty gassed, and the heat did take something out of them. It's a little bit humid out there too, Evan. It's got a true late summer feel rather than early fall right now. Maroons, by the way, in all black today, not in maroon for Roanoke, but Lynchburg in the white-on-white look, and it looks like both keepers wearing the powder blues.
Aesthetically pleasing if you're looking for a little bit of equality on both sides of the field. It's a good start for Lynchburg trying to press forward. The Maroons pressed back, and now Madeline Boyce will try to get her body on one, but another throw for Roanoke. We've mentioned the heat. These are two teams that have seen just about every condition so far this season. Lynchburg, when they were down in Charlotte, had a very warm affair when they played Emory. But you also look at some of the similar opponents from these two squads. A tournament in Salem earlier in the season where both teams lost to Hardin-Simmons and Johns Hopkins. So you feel like you've been in familiar settings, but when you get out there in October, you just never know what it's going to be like.
You really don't. It's such a strange thing in fall sports. You start in the heat of summer. You could get those triple digits even sometimes you're playing, and then by the end of the season in tournament time, you're down below freezing sometimes playing out there in the snow and the ice. So it's an interesting thing, and again, back to the fitness. I think both coaches really value that, and their teams show that on the field.
In an ideal world, I think both teams would want to be playing in those freezing temperatures at the end of the season. We know that Roanoke did host that Final Four last year on the soccer side. The Maroons trying to move forward as a heavy collision in the middle of the field. Looks like no intent from Morgan Oliver, but it will be a stoppage and a free kick for Roanoke.
Good officiating there, I think. Just way too much contact to not blow a whistle. And no intent from Oliver, but I think if you're Coach Todd Olson, you like the enthusiasm and the activity there. You don't want to do anything outside the rules, but got to play the game hard.
This is a shot that might challenge Bowers. She sees it the entire way, but that will likely go down as the first one of the night, or of the afternoon rather, for Roanoke, and Lynchburg can send it the other way.
I think it was Riley Dombrowski there, freshman midfielder from Glen Allen. Got a good strike on it, and like you said, Bowers sighted it well the whole time, pulled it out of the sky. Nice to get one on net, keep the keeper a little bit active, keep her busy. So if you're Roanoke, you probably don't hate that sequence right there.
In that last game versus Washington and Lee, Lynchburg used a pretty similar tactic, just trying to get at least one shot off. Of the 7 that they took, 5 were on frame. It was just 2 goals for the Hornets, and they came up short. But a third opportunity from Sammy Rogstad is about as close as it's going to get. Skimmed the crossbar. As Lynchburg in a good position now as well with a throw. And Kyle, you look at those close opportunities, you're thinking, oh, we wish we had them back, but you really just have to put it behind you at this stage of the season.
You do. From a fan's perspective, I mean, it's about the most exciting final 60 or 90 seconds you're ever going to see in a college game. I mean, a goal-mouth scramble for the ages. There's a nice job to pull that ball out of the sky by Grace Sushi, the keeper for Roanoke, had to get active. But, yeah, I mean, that night, Wednesday, we're going to remember that for a long, long time. I think you nailed it, though, from a player's or coach's perspective. Got to try to learn from it and then let it go. And maybe in the offseason you go back and watch it again and say, wow, we were that close. We were inches away. And really, Lynchburg was inches away a couple times in that final minute.
That was a contest that was ruled a non-conference affair despite being against Washington and Lee. One of those tendencies you see every year is Casey encounters a little bit of trouble on defense. The Maroons will maintain possession. And just a game where obviously Lynchburg felt like it came up short, not just on the scoreboard, but maybe a little bit of energy. You wanted more hustle from that midfield, and a great opportunity in this 3-game homestand to come back and rewrite the narrative.
You and I talked about 50-50 balls a lot on Wednesday, and you hear that basically in every soccer broadcast. And I was talking about how you got to win both 50-50 balls. You got to win the initial one, and then when the touch is awkward, you got to win the second one. This touch is really good right here.
Madeline Boyce doing it all by herself. Sushi had to come off her line and makes a nice snag, but not without a little bit of trouble as Lynchburg made that run, and it looked like momentarily that Lauren Orner could get a foot on it.
That was really good there from Boyce. I mean, she did a little swashbuckling down the near left sideline, and then a great save by Sushi to come out. Again, in exchange, I think both coaches will be happy with early on. Just quality stuff.
You saw on the screen momentarily, she started every match this season. Played just one half versus Sweetbriar, so some time off. But when you look at last season, playing just 145 minutes, you can tell her role has been elevated, and obviously it goes back to Coach Benny's trust in his goalkeeper.
Well, we're seeing good things from her early. Wow, seeing some contact early. I think the indications are that this will be a bit of a rough and tumble physical affair, Evan.
You had to imagine after that game against Washington and Lee, there might be some changes. Two teams that are coming from very different previous affairs. We know that Roanoke, when you look at it on the stat sheet, you see the 41 shot attempts against Sweetbriar. They were dominant in possession. It was pretty much all Maroons, but it was not exactly the start that they anticipated. It took a little while until I believe the 28th minute to get their first goal, and then they scored in very quick succession, putting up 4 in that first half.
And, of course, Lynchburg went down 3-0 against Washington and Lee. So, yeah, completely different role reversal for sure.
This pass tries to get through to Lauder. She has a little bit of space. Now Warner working to her spot. Roanoke all around. Morgan Oliver's going to take a shot as Sushi was a few feet in front, but she won't have to worry about this one.
Right idea from Morgan Oliver there. I think you got the ball right in the middle, rolling to you, step into that, make a strike. Looked like she didn't quite hit it where she wanted to on her foot, but a quality chance. I file that under the quality chance category, Evan. I think 22, Riley Dobransky, the freshman. I think I got that name wrong. Dobransky with a good defensive play about a minute or so right before that shot. Here's Dobransky right now coming up the sideline.
The Maroons spreading things out in that back line, this time unable to connect up front. We'll see these 50-50s in the middle as Rogstad recollects. You see Madeline Boyce as well for Lynchburg, number 24 in white. Not as active in that last contest, and it's credit to the Generals' defense, what they were able to do, really shutting down those touch lines. But for Roanoke, they're going to have a very similar threat when you look at Boyce and Irigoyen, the speedsters on the wings, and Lynchburg constantly looks to run.
Sure, and we know Wellington can come in and do the same.
Lauder, a little bit of space just wide of the net.
Well, don't make any long-winded points today.
That's right.
Because the way the action is going, you just never know when the big play is coming. Lynchburg nearly had it right there. Yeah, I was in the midst of saying Wellington, of course, will run those sidelines. They'll pump balls down in the corner for her to try to use that speed. You and I thought Lynchburg probably wanted a bit more out of their wing attacks, trying to outflank Washington and Lee on Wednesday. So we'll see if they can get that going again. A second look at just how close Lynchburg came.
Sushi couldn't really do much. Her hands had to just go straight out in front, and Lauder just missed it. One of those opportunities, maybe one that Lynchburg will want back, but again, you got to tuck it away and keep on moving forward. Here's Roanoke on the other side of the field. A little bit of aggression from Grutkowski. She's going to earn it. Nice work from this Lynchburg defense, and we saw on the far side of the field, it looked like Roanoke was getting just about everything they could handle, and now you're going with a long throw.
Yeah, Brooke Nicholson there from Roanoke just couldn't quite come up with a 50-50 ball that looked like it might have hit her back. The throw in Roanoke's going to take back, or are they?
Well, initial indications would suggest that Lynchburg has had the majority of possession, but Roanoke obviously can look for that counter, something that Lynchburg tried to do against W&L. Now reversing the field. We'll see if they can find space.
And you and I, again, danger in making a long point as you see it right here.
Here's Lauder in the zip code. Basucci's just going to get this one out. Wow, Lynchburg, you can tell with their attack just the way that it materializes. It's not exactly a long possession, let's just pass it around. It's that 1-2 punch, and then ultimately you're right outside the 6.
Yeah, 1 touch, 2 touch. I mean, always a great way to break down a defense. Now, there is some value in stretching the D with long dribbles and sprint dribbles and those kinds of things. But I do like the way Lynchburg's moving the ball around initially. Seems like they're pretty good in the air here today. That's another one that we discussed some on Wednesday. You got to think three-dimensionally in this game sometimes. You stretch a defense front, back, sideline, and then you got to go airborne too.
One of the points that was made after that Washington and Lee affair is that they switched the goalkeepers in the final 10 minutes. And if you looked at it specifically, Abby Groff, who has a little less height for the Generals and goal, might not have made that save that ultimately saved the game for the Generals in the end.
That was an interesting thing as well. We wondered, is the keeper switch just because Washington and Lee's up 3-0? It might have been tactical as far as, hey, let's get a little bigger body there between the pipes, maybe keep out some of those longer high ball chances.
Lynchburg still looking to find possession in the box as Boyce was running on it. Now the Maroons with a nice touch as Orner comes over. Lynchburg gets it right back. Irigoyen looking inside the middle of the box. Madeline Boyce gave chase, but Sushi gathers without problems.
Good job by Boyce to make that very close. She might have stuck her foot in the ground just a little bit late trying to sprint to that point. But overall, again, indications good from Lynchburg. I like the way they're playing right now. Roanoke, I think, is the one that needs to respond in some type of way. And this could be the start of something.
We'll see if the Maroons can make it happen. Here's the player to watch, Rebecca Carr. Moving around Claire Lloyd, who does get a touch on it, but the Maroons maintain. Carr is so crafty, and you're going to see her in big spots today if this Roanoke offense can just keep possession. This touch goes over, and the Maroons likely are going to have a corner. As, yes, the flag will point down. Looked like a collision between the Hornets. Results in the first corner of the afternoon.
Good call. Very close down there as to whether that ball was still on the line or over the line. Let's see how Roanoke sets up. Here's an interesting setup from the Maroons. They're going to get everybody on the goal line. They've got 4 or 5 players in the net right here. This is a kind of a unique setup that you don't see a ton of. I would think, I'm wondering if it's going to be in swinging or out swinging. Might even could go short with the corner potentially.
We'll see what Bowers can do as this one does get a head on it, but Lynchburg extinguishes the threat quickly. Still in the box. Roanoke can't connect as this one is far wide, but you saw the opportunity crowding the keeper. Bowers didn't really have any problems there.
Yeah, a lot of times you see the reverse. Teams will set up outside the box, sprint in, and make it difficult that way. I like the fact that Roanoke is trying some things. It'll be interesting to see if and when they get another corner, if they go with a similar setup or perhaps a different call out there.
Bowers can boot this one off. Lynchburg trying to create space once again. Corners are a point of contention for Lynchburg that has really indicated success in the past. When you look at 2020 2023, they were 7-0-1 in ODAC matches with 6 or more corners. And it just shows the possession that they have used throughout the season. This is a team that is lethal on the set pieces as well.
Fantastic stat right there. You know, when you and I talk about, sometimes the stats are kind of irrelevant or they don't tell you a great story. That one does. I mean, that one tells you when Lynchburg gets the corners, they're usually pretty good, and success follows.
The Hornets this season have 19 fewer corners than opponents. You might have to look back to early in the schedule with some opponents that really dominated possession and exploited that stat sheet, but Lynchburg is starting to climb back as Carr almost moving forward. It looks like Roanoke is still in the neighborhood.
That was high skill from Carr with that flick there. Nice little give-and-go game now.
Nicholson's going to fire a deflection, but Bauer sees it the whole way.
Really good two-person interplay there with Nicholson and Carr. Again, the flick, I just love that. Time it up, pop it right over the defender, turn and run. She actually didn't get to the ball first, but still ends up a Roanoke possession. So, yeah, you can tell her foot skills. She's got all the different moves in the bag. That will be a difficult stop for Lynchburg. You don't want to give a player like Carr space. You never want to give her a one-on-one. Always got to have another defender in the area to help out.
Offsides call on the other side against Roanoke. They had 16 offsides calls in that Sweetbriar affair. We know that is a product of having your offense active throughout the 90 minutes, but that's something that Coach Benny certainly wants to see go down.
Yeah, 16 feels like a large number. The fans couldn't see it, but my eyebrows shot up there on that. I don't think we saw a single offside Wednesday with Lynchburg and Washington and Lee, did we?
Well, it was one of those contests, too. It just felt like Lynchburg really struggled to have possession for that long, and W&L didn't have their runs. Roanoke does have one successfully here, as they're going to look the other way, and this one will just rattle out. Apologies on that last call. It was offsides against Lynchburg on the other side, but you do see a product of Roanoke's run right there, as it was an active play from Petroselli. Unable to connect that time, though, and Roanoke will have to research.
Occasionally you'll see a team at the D3 level try to run an offsides trap. It's kind of hard to do, and you know, you're bringing in new players every single year. You're just trying to get the basics and the fundamentals and get some of your normal defensive concepts. If you get a team that is running a true offside trap, that's a really well-coached ball club. But you do see it from time to time.
Well, you're absolutely right, because across the D3 landscape, so many different programs have coaches who have been around for a long time. I mean, look at Coach Olson and Coach Benny, over 30 seasons each, and that system can really start getting crafty. And so you know that these two teams are going to be pretty fundamentally sound. You look at some of the recruiting, but ultimately, do you have the personnel to execute?
Sure, and both of these coaches understand what a player's game soccer is. It's not like some other sports where the coach can call plays. We got a little injury here, so we can extend this point. It's not like basketball and football where the coach is calling these plays. Baseball, they're calling the pitches. Soccer, you got to train the players in practice. You work on the individual skills. You work on the team concepts. Then you kind of let them go play. And you get those rare occasions with your corners, your free kick set pieces, some things like that, or a potential offsides trap, something like that, where you can really kind of go mad scientist as a coach. But for the most part, that hard work is done in practice. And, yeah, you go to the halftime locker room, you make an adjustment or two there, Evan. But for the most part, it's a player's game. And I think both of these coaches, they've been around. They understand that piece of it. They don't have a massive ego. It's not about Dr. Todd Olson. And that's one of the reasons why he's been so successful, I think.
Well, you hear the old saying, you can take someone to the water, you can't make them drink. And it's one of those things with soccer where you understand all the prep work and the practices, they start to matter, but you got to have your players out there doing the right thing. And it takes that collective buy-in just to make things happen. So you see on the far side some of the fans out in attendance. Saturday afternoon in the Hill City, it has been a pretty one. So you see the sun, a little bit of shade by the Westover dorms.
Yeah, it's warm out there, and you know it's crazy because it's only 80 or 81, but when it's been in the 70s, all of a sudden 81 feels like summertime again, whereas you know you're in the middle of July, you're used to 98. When you get down to 81, you're like, oh, it's a cool day outside. So perspective, I guess. Back to the sun real quick. Lynchburg's keeper at the moment is on our right side. away from Turner, closer to Lakeside Drive, if you will. That's the side that has to deal with the setting sun. Not uncommon to see keepers here at Turner don the cap every now and then to try to shield the sun. It looks like Meredith Bowers is just kind of using the gloved hand to hold it over her head there, yeah. But you can see it's an impact.
Well, that's a great observation, too, because a lot of fields might have that sun setting right around midfield. This is not the case. A little bit of disparity here at Schellenberger, and we will see in the second half if they can play to Lynchburg's advantage. But for now, Roanoke trying to start that run. Here's 4-on-4. Here comes Rebecca Carr. A few quick steps, shoves Casey. Casey wanted the extra contact. She went down a little too easily for the referee's liking. It's another corner.
Well, you identified Carr as our player to watch, and you were bang on with that. She's got skills, and she's got speed and strength to go with it. She's not afraid to give a little shoulder, a little elbow there, and even with the contact, still managed to get pretty good foot on that ball.
We'll see this one a second time. It does look like that arm extended a little bit. Casey is one of the premier defenders, not just in the conference, but in the nation, a 2022 All-American. A very tough assignment with Rebecca Carr as this corner is high in the air. The Maroons waiting for it. They get ahead on it, but Bowers can collect with no problem. Low velocity opportunity, and Lynchburg can boot it on off.
Great touch on that corner to get that much height. That's what I'm talking about with three-dimensional play. When you can go airborne and that high airborne, it opens things up for an offense. Give Lynchburg their share of credit for defending that. Speaking of airborne, there's a 50-50 mid-air ball that still is not won yet. And that's back to my point about the 50-50 ball. There's one battle for it, and then there's another one right after it. And you really have to work hard and win sometimes a chain of those, 2, 3, 4 of those 50-50 balls in a row to truly grab possession. And that's what makes it fun to watch, right? That's what we had Wednesday. It's just battles everywhere, full field. And we're getting some here. A little bit too much contact, so it will be a free kick for Lynchburg.
And a great point, because it's so difficult to gain momentum for a long stint in soccer. You don't see these 10-minute runs. You have your opportunities, and you have to be in and out, as this one is sniffed out from Rogstad, and Lynchburg's just going to have to settle right around midfield.
See if they can rebuild here. You still might have Roanoke a little out of sorts. Sometimes you defend the initial free kick, then you sort of lose your shape as a defense, and all of a sudden the offensive team can recycle that possession and keep going. But nothing fruitful this time around. I believe this is our first substitute of the game, Evan.
Here comes Hannah Phillips, the freshman from Whitesboro, New York, as Megan Lauder will come off the field. We've seen Hannah Phillips with a few starts this season, started 4 of 9 matches, and she has been very impressive up front. That's one of the question marks for Coach Todd Olson. Last year, it was simply goal production that was missing from this Lynchburg squad. They had great speed on the wings and a lot of great crosses throughout the season, but the goals just did not come at the rate that this coaching staff preferred. So far this season, it's been better, and we've seen indications that Lynchburg can score at a high rate, but still, in the ODAC, you always are going to have tough opponents in that regard.
Yeah, and finishing is going to be so difficult as well. It's one of those things, you work on it over and over in practice. You have your drills, you have your small-sided games, you have your 11-on-11, but still when you get in the matches, just every little combination is different. How the ball gets to your foot is just slightly different every time. Back to what makes this such a unique sport is every situation just has some slight combination difference or a different permutation. We get a little corner battle here, back and forth between the two squads, and it will be a Lynchburg corner awarded.
They had to lobby momentarily, but McKenna Dahm is heading to the flag. It's the first one for Lynchburg of this contest after a pair of Roanoke corners. So far, if you're just joining us, still tied up 0-0. 5 shots for Roanoke. But Lynchburg has had possession. This corner is in the area. Sushi just had to swipe it away. Second opportunity, ball rolling. Roanoke's defense on the line. Claire Lloyd gets the shot off but can't do anything. Oh, the Hornets are trying to storm forward, but nothing is doing. And now it will be just enough from Rebecca Carr to exit stage left, and here come the Maroons.
What a goal mouth scramble. Another great one, and the Maroons are really on the march here. Lynchburg has got to hustle back.
Grakowski on her horse to the far touchline and just clears it, but it is a little applause from this Roanoke sideline. So much hustle to get back, and for a moment, they had numbers moving forward.
Great sequence there. Fabulous 60 seconds of soccer. It really continues right here as they're going to get Sushi involved. How about Sushi doing a little bit of barnstorming there on the corner? She kind of ventured a little farther from the goal line than I think most coaches would prefer, but she got the double fist on it, slowed it down, and then managed to scramble back and get in front of the twine.
That might have elevated the pulse for Hannah Phillips just momentarily. How about that touch? Orner connects to her. This shot goes, and Sushi just bats it down. So she didn't get it the first time, but she does take a little heat check from way outside.
Perfect description. I like Sushi there. Just going to put the ball under her arm, catch her breath. It was a heart-stopping moment on that goal mouth scramble for both teams. And then Roanoke with a chance to counterattack. Yeah, Sushi held on to that one for a while. This kick was a little high and wild, but now we get a little aerial battle for it.
We're going to see if Lynchburg can maintain as Madeline Boyce does enough just to kick it to the other side as Irigoyen gives chase. A lot of back and forth. You see that transition style quite often with Lynchburg as Irigoyen has a nice touch moving forward. The Hornets can just send it back.
Yeah, Irigoyen class there, fake the long pass and then turn it into a short dribble. That was nice.
Lynchburg midfield looking a little more confident in possession today, something Coach Olson certainly had to emphasize, but better defense from Roanoke, and once again, they might be on the run.
Yeah, that's an outstanding solo tackle there. Looked like Jillian Kennedy maybe on that takeaway for Roanoke on the defensive side, left wing over there.
That far side of the field can be so difficult to identify. You got the sun starting to set on Schellenberger, and for the 7 o'clock men's game, it's a very similar setting. That first half is always a little bright over the Westover dorms.
We're going to be just amped up. I don't know if we'll be able to contain the excitement by then, Evan, because it is another triple-header day here on Shelley. We had a field hockey win, women's soccer now, ODAC matchup, and then men's soccer to follow, and we're going to be doing this a bunch this fall. 2 weeks, we got homecoming, but let's talk about that at halftime, which is rapidly approaching. We're more than halfway through the first half between Roanoke and Lynchburg.
Homecoming just a couple weekends away, something that's certainly an exclamation mark on your schedule every single season. But for now, we are in early October action. Nothing separating these squads yet, at least on the scoreboard, as Carr can't get this cross off cleanly, and it's going to be a goal kick for Meredith Bowers. It's been a few opportunities back and forth. Lynchburg has had the best if you look at it in terms of possession and opportunities. They have been in the box a number of times, but unable to convert. We will see if Roanoke can switch things up. Keep in mind, this is not the only ODAC match today. Everybody really in the heart of the ODAC season. 7 matches in the conference today. And we know that the ODAC is just getting more and more competitive every year.
Look at Boyce go.
Trying to get around. 2 Maroons were in the area. This is a Roanoke Maroons athletic program that has sent so many teams to Lynchburg this season already. Roanoke's men's soccer team was in the area. Volleyball was in the house last night. Dropped that match to Lynchburg in straight sets, something that we didn't see coming. You know, the stat sheets will tell you so much, and it was what we expected to be a pretty evenly played match, and Lynchburg just really had the better of them from the gun.
Yeah, you guys had some fun last night inside Turner. Women's volleyball team, man, what a great story for Kevin Cardoza in his first season. They have been playing outstanding ball as of late. Here's a really good through ball.
Hannah Phillips trying to give chase. She almost gets there first, still applying pressure to the corner, and it was even better work from Casey Schmidt just to send it over the touchline. But there's that Lynchburg pressure and aggression we've expected.
Yeah, and I like the through ball there. That's something we haven't seen a ton of from Lynchburg. It's been a lot of sideline passing, work in the triangles, some long dribbles. That's really one of the first, true through balls into space that we've seen, I think. But I like the balance from Lynchburg offensively. They're not one-dimensional when it comes to the offense at all.
Feels like they're pressing more forward with every possession here in this first half, and just south of 20 minutes to go in the first 45. You have to expect that Coach Olson would rather have a goal now than wait, as this pass goes errant, a problem that is a big one when you look at the last few games that Lynchburg has dropped, just trying to maintain possession in the midfield.
And it's a really key pass there. You're trying to move it from your defense back to the midfield. You're trying to use the sidelines, which on paper is always a great way to go. But those long passes, you extend those. All of a sudden you become less accurate, and you might lose a possession. I guess, you can argue that Lynchburg hasn't truly lost the possession yet because Roanoke's still trying to work to throw this ball in, but you kind of lose your setup that you had.
Oh, that's a nice touch as Haley Casey is going to have her hands full. Rebecca Carr, again, a few quick steps. Now isolated on the near touchline. Crosses this one forward. Oh, Roanoke finds the net for the first time. It was a beautiful connection as Rebecca Carr does just enough. And the Maroons can be happy about this one. MC Petruselli seals this one, and the Maroons maybe shocking the Hornets here in this first half.
Well, there is some disappointment on the Lynchburg sideline, and it's fascinating, Evan, because we just talked about that key pass before that. Lynchburg trying to go from defense to midfield, that transition. Ball goes out, a couple throw-ins later. Carr gets one-on-one down the sideline and into the corner, and anytime she can work one-on-one, she is going to be very dangerous. Now, in this case, Carr will get the assist. Great feed across to the middle to Petruselli. That is a quality goal from Roanoke, one they need to feel really good about. So Lynchburg has dominated the possession, and they've had more chances, but Roanoke dominating the scoreboard, if you will, at the moment, 1-0 with 18:41 remaining in half one.
Well, that's what happens when you attract the attention on the field. Rebecca Carr, as you see, drags Haley Casey out of the box, one of the best defenders on this Lynchburg team, and it's an easy connection as MC Petruselli slots it home, number 16, with her second goal of the season. She earned the game-winning goal last year versus Lynchburg as well. Might this be the one that is enough for the Maroons? We'll have to wait and find out.
Well, you and I hadn't talked about last year's matchup too much at this point, but how much is Lynchburg thinking about revenge, and how much is Roanoke maybe using some confidence from the victory last year?
Rogstad gave a look outside, held on to it, and it doesn't work. And now Roanoke's through ball going to be sniffed out as well, as Rebecca Carr is nowhere close, but Lloyd will just settle to send it out. Roanoke able to connect in what really felt like their first big quality opportunity. We've seen a few corners today, but Bowers hadn't really been tested, and not much she could do on the low cross as the Maroons make a slew of substitutions, and Carr will leave this one.
Well, you got to figure maybe she's out for 5-10 minutes. I don't know. Maybe you bring her back fresh, play the entire second half. She's really impressing me early. I think she's the kind of the engine that makes this Roanoke team go.
Maroons looking for a second. Ella Irons clears this one out, and Roanoke once again will maintain possession. So the road home for Lynchburg just got a little more difficult. If you're just joining us, a Maroons goal, and it was a connection from Rebecca Carr to MC Petruselli. Lynchburg, who has had a number of opportunities early in this contest, now has to find their way back as this pass looks for Orner in the middle of the field, and Roanoke sends it the other way again. 5 clean sheets coming into this one for Lynchburg, and we know that that is not always an indicator of success, because if you can't score goals, then keeping your opponents off the board doesn't matter. But it is a defense from the Hornets that is very familiar with one another, starting virtually every single match together, and they have just been so cohesive between Grakowski, Casey, and Lloyd.
That cohesion really matters, and it matters to your goalkeeper, Meredith Bowers, as well, because she knows where everybody is going to be, when they're going to be there. So really important on the defensive side for Lynchburg, and then you have to use that defense to transition to offense. You have to be able to go from back to front, and sometimes you have to be able to do it really quickly too.
Grace Sushi sends this one off. Far side of the field, Lynchburg can get possession back and just try and construct the puzzle. top teams in the conference this year have been struggling not just to start the ODAC slate, but looking at the beginning of the regular season. 3 teams in particular that might catch your eye are Lynchburg, Roanoke, and Virginia Wesleyan. Whereas if you look at their records from last season, Lynchburg through 9 games was 6-3. They sit at 4-4-1 this year. Just feels like there's something that is left to be desired, but both teams hungry to get this one today.
Yeah, and how much of that is just the quality of the ODAC as a whole and the teams that you're playing in your non-conference play? A little physical battle there at the edge of the box. Because we mentioned it briefly Wednesday, you win a national championship like Lynchburg did women's soccer, it forces everybody else to raise their game as well. And then sometimes you pay the price for that. That's the old penalty of excellence line.
Wellington gets this ball through. Sushi was almost a little too pedestrian as it tried to find the near pipe, but it doesn't matter as they're going to have a goal kick. And as you mentioned, the ODAC is certainly familiar with these two coaches and their history. Coach Todd Olson in his 31st season, 497 career wins for the Pittsburgh native, and then Phil Binney on the other side, the winningest women's soccer coach in school history for Roanoke, also a 5-time ODAC Coach of the Year. Kyle, an interesting point about Coach Binney. In 1999, he was Coach of the Year for the women's soccer squad, but also the men's tennis squad in the same year.
That's impressive. I mean, that is really impressive, and we gotta do an LHSN deep dive, get the research department to find out if that's happened before.
A very short list.
I was going to say one Enza Steele could be a potential that could have won that.
That's right.
Or could have a Coach of the Year in multiple sports in the same season. That's a fantastic poll by you, though. That's congrats to Coach Benny. I mean, it's impressive. That's fun.
Also top 10 in Division III among active coaches and wins. We know Coach Todd Olson also in that category. Lynchburg still looking to evade trouble, and Roanoke with all the pressure on this side. Wow, lots of physicality before the whistle as Ella Irons was all over that play, and you saw not very much lobbying from Casey Schmidt to get the call. The Maroons just kept playing through it.
Yeah, that was a good little battle, and perhaps an indication of what our referees will allow. We've seen a little bit of the rough and tumble already in half number 1, and I think both coaches are probably okay with that as long as that stays consistent. Sometimes, Evan, you get refs that let you play in half 1, then they start blowing the whistle a lot more in half 2.
Lynchburg clears. Roanoke still looking to stay in the box as there's a triangle of Hornet defenders. They finally get this one out. Now Hannah Phillips trying to ruffle some feathers. It's anybody's ball who can keep it the longest, as here's another great run. Bowers off her line, had to be careful, and she makes a brilliant move as it was a very close encounter with Natalia Cage.
Great touch there from Cage. First touch, then got it back, and Bowers with the perfect timing. She waited and waited and then broke off the line, read that perfectly. Actually did not field it clean as she came out, but there was nobody else up there from the Maroons, to try to pick up the crumbs on that one.
Sometimes it's not the car with the engine on the train that's going to make the difference. It's the one behind it. In that case, Lynchburg lucky to avoid trouble. Meredith Bowers was about as good as she could be in that Washington and Lee contest. We say that knowing that a lot of the goals from the Generals, it just goes to the entire Lynchburg defense and what they struggled with. Bowers came away with 7 saves in that one, and despite giving up 3 goals, she's already been recognized this season as an ODAC Defensive Player of the Week. A lot of talent, and coming in to replace Jade Lecklider after last year, you can tell Coach Olson really trusts his keeper.
I think she's been outstanding all season long. I think she'll continue to get better as well as she gets more and more reps. 3 fresh faces for Lynchburg. Evan, it looked like 1 substitute for Roanoke.
We will see how the Hornets can switch things up. A few changes in the midfield as well. We saw Tegan Casey enter the contest a little earlier, and a very young lineup for Lynchburg. What can they do to convert as Wellington's kick goes awry?
I think Maddie Olson was one that came in. Also, Riley Wampler. Believe those were 2 of the 3 changes for Lynchburg. We'll try to keep our eyes peeled and See if we can confirm that as play goes on here. Just over 11 to go in half number 1. It is a 1-0 Roanoke lead.
Riley Wampler, someone who was impressed early in this season. Freshman from Richmond, Virginia, and getting a few starts this season as well. This is a squad for Coach Todd Olson that doesn't exactly have a lot of vacancy when you look at that starting lineup. You know, there's so many returners who bring that talent. To even get a few starts on that stat sheet really means a lot.
Yeah, Wampler's got good size. You can see that. Always nice to have a little extra height out there. And in the toolbox, we mentioned Lynchburg will often explore the aerial game.
Now Lynchburg out wide. Wellington takes a tap towards the middle. There is Wampler waiting for it. Now Ava Olson. Connection outside to Wellington, but better defense once again. Roanoke has really eliminated those chances out wide. Emily Moffitt, someone who has been a big part of this lineup, the junior from Aldie, Virginia, started all 9 matches this season for the Maroons, and those mainstays in the lineup start to really matter come conference play when you're trying to solidify who's going to be on the field in the big moments.
Yeah, you do some exploration. You try to find your different combinations and who's going to rise to the top as the season goes on. But ideally, by the time the tournament rolls around, you've got a pretty fixed 11 with, 2 or 3 key substitutes, maybe. Each coach is different, and I'm sure each year is different. These 2 coaches, again, they've seen all the different things you could see in a season worth of soccer.
So much to discover. We know Lynchburg's road is involved in national championship in 2014, and you might sound like a broken record when you look at the stat sheets and all the history books, and you continue to point in that direction. But as we've said, it really changes the culture, and Coach Todd Olson has done so much for this program now in his 31st season, and it's the fact his handprint has just been so large. He's had so much time to do it.
It's hard to believe that was 10 years ago, too. To me, it still feels so fresh. The memories are vivid.
Sushi couldn't collect this one from Casey, but Roanoke's still in a pocket of space that was large enough to avoid trouble. Now Sammy Rogstead might try and insert for opportunity number 2. Won't matter as the Maroons find the door once again.
Yeah, Lynchburg had 2 strikers up there. Good takeaway.
And now Ella Irons maybe getting the attack started again. She goes to the middle of the field, and that's enough for a call. There isn't really much of a discussion there. Roanoke was in trouble momentarily. Emily Stockdale called for the foul, and now Lynchburg with a great spot for a free kick.
Not a great challenge from Stockdale there. On the other hand, you prevent a potential goal and you don't get carded for it, so maybe it's the perfect challenge. It depends on your perspective. So here's a good free kick setup. Lynchburg's going to overload the right side. You're going to see different lines and runs, and the goalkeeper is way over on the left post, actually now sliding to middle right.
Rogstad puts this one in the mix. Sushi sees it the whole time. It was pretty good placement. You have to expect that was what was prepared, but just couldn't get that final header. And now Roanoke really unattended on that far side as Wellington's behind the play. The Maroons might have numbers. Cage, a tap back. Now they look to the other side, and Petroselli, the goal scorer, is in the mix as well. Here's a second chance from Cage, but Bauer sees it.
Yeah, Cage didn't quite get the perfect touch on that. Sophomore was in the right place, though. It's a pretty good serve in there. In hindsight, she might have been better off settling, maybe trying to turn. But again, those decisions happen in a split second and don't always make the right one. And sometimes you do, and you just don't execute.
It's always a coin toss, right? And you're going to appreciate the good decisions throughout a game. But I think a coaching staff almost wants to look at the miscues and recognize, okay, let's get better and play through the chances that aren't always picture perfect.
Sure, and you always want the perfect game from your players, but you have to expect that's not going to happen. You love it when it does. And it's back to, there's 11 out there. So sometimes one player has the A-plus game. You have somebody else that doesn't. But the C- game is the one that ends up hurting you just because of the way the game shakes out.
Katie Paulette just came into the game. She has a nice pass out wide as Grakowski couldn't field it, but Roanoke clears. Lynchburg has a throw. And to add to that point, the personnel is so important because Obviously, not all 11 will be having their A-plus stuff, but to win a soccer match, you sometimes just need one for that goal score.
That's exactly right. I mean, really, that's been a lot of Roanoke's story in the first half here. We've thought that Lynchburg, for the most part, has outplayed Roanoke, but the Maroons have the big one on the scoreboard there. A really, really quality cross and finish. Goal kick coming up. I thought Grukowski made a great run for Lynchburg to come along that far right sideline. Just the first touch kind of trampolined off the foot. She couldn't quite maintain the possession.
Grukowski always looking to run forward, a big part of this Lynchburg attack, despite being one of the backs, and we will see her continued influence as she sends it the other way. Now Claire Lloyd. Oh, it's Lacey Garner, rather. Now Maddie Olson in the midfield. Claire Lloyd typically occupying that left back spot for Lynchburg. Substitution momentarily, and Lacey Garner, someone else who is starting to earn some more minutes this season. 9th appearance in this one for the senior from Huntingtown, Maryland. Lynchburg will have a throw, and Rogstad collects. The final 5 minutes will be a pretty good indication of what to expect in the second half. We'll see if Lynchburg can find a little more hustle and try to equalize before the first 45 concludes. But right now, Roanoke is sending it the other way. Garner gets a foot on it, and Sammy Rogstad with traffic tries to shift lanes. It won't matter. It's out, and Roanoke retains.
Back to right decision-making there. Just a touch a little too far. Rogstad can't run it down before it gets out of bounds. Lynchburg can kind of reset the defense here. Nice job to step in front that time on the throw.
Hornets will earn the call, so maybe a little bit more urgency.
Lacey Garner there stepping in front on the throw in. That was very, very good.
Coming down to these last 5 minutes, we know the Hornets were very present in the final 5 minutes against Washington and Lee, and I think this coaching staff would appreciate that energy here.
It's an area where coaches talk about, hey, don't get caught scoreboard watching. Don't just try to run out the clock and go to halftime. That you can score in those final 5 minutes just like you can in the first 5. So that'll be definitely a point, talking point all the time, really, for our coaches.
Roanoke trying to start their run. Now they look forward. Rogstad, the freshman, moving back. She is so crafty with her footwork as well. You see her in every inch of the turf. Here comes Irons. Extra space as well. Roanoke, not many people in the middle of the field as they work to keep that line in the back. Paulette out wide on the far side, trying to convert and send it on into Ella Irons. Just a little disconnection there, and then it's out.
Good little medium tempo build up there from Lynchburg. I like that. You said some soft spots there in the middle. Lynchburg used that, then went outside. Ooh, good cross. Nice job by Sushi. She was ready for that. Had a player in the zip code kind of lurking off her right shoulder, but jumped out there to make a diving save.
Now maybe a little bit of time just to waste a few ticks. Still 2:30 to go. Don't think either of these teams are exactly in a hurry to end the first half. If you're Lynchburg, as we said, you would love to get one back. But Roanoke trying to continue the momentum from their last match versus Sweetbriar. Their first clean sheet of the season. Could it be the second versus Lynchburg? And an opponent they are very familiar with. In this 31st meeting, Lynchburg has taken 21 so far. They're trying to equalize here. Ella Irons moves to her left, sends the cross in. Sushi has trouble with it, and it is a goal line stand right now for Grace Sushi. Hands in the air. She wanted to call a little bit earlier. Wow.
Yeah, referee even stepped in her direction and kind of gave her, that's enough, don't need to hear anymore. But really athletic there, and you could see the outstretched arm. She just reeled that one back in. Had the fish on the hook. It nearly jumped off. Watch her pull it back in. Oh, yeah.
Everybody going around. It looked like Lynchburg had the numbers to do so, just not the right timing as, wow, there's a strong collision on the far side of the field. Grukowski does earn the throw for Lynchburg. Or no, it'll be the foul called first. So Haley Casey looks to send it forward. Maybe a final opportunity in the cards for the Hornets.
Yeah, about 70 seconds here to try something. Sushi's going to pick that one before it goes out of play. Good job to really move around back there. Sushi's active. She's very lively and spry for Roanoke.
This is a Roanoke team that has some very difficult opponents on the horizon. Number 3, CNU. Number 20, Washington and Lee. 2 opponents in their next 3. What a great way to get the momentum started here against Lynchburg. You talk about the ups and downs throughout a season, but what a way it would be to rebound.
Roanoke's done a lot of hard work. More to follow in half 2, and maybe right here defending a possible late half goal opportunity for Lynchburg.
Who deflected last? Oh, it's a goal kick. It looked like Irons had it just at the very end.
I thought she was intentionally trying to play it off the defender there to earn the corner kick. That was kind of the vibe I got as she realized where she was at on the field, knew a cross was probably not a potential play. So looked like she intentionally tried to go off the shins, but did not earn the call. And we have heard the buzzer for the first time today. Half 1 is done, Evan.
45 minutes in the books, and Roanoke has the better of Lynchburg at the moment. They lead 1-0 courtesy of an MC Petroselli goal. It was a good one, served on a platter into the box. Lynchburg's going to have to be a little bit better in the second half if they want to rebound. So Evan Gates and Kyle Haney will be back for the second half here on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. We'll see if the Hornets can rebound.
Not only was I the first one in my family to graduate college, but I was really the first one to even go. Being the first one, I'm breaking that cycle, and now that I've graduated, I'm not sure what's the next step, but I know I have a lot of doors open. And a lot of those are open because I played football and ran track here at Otterbein.
Get your career in the game by enrolling in the University of Lynchburg MBA program with an emphasis in sport management. This program opens the doors to new possibilities for a variety of careers, from being an athletic director or working in athletic administration to working for professional organizations, your favorite team, to running a local Parks and Rec department. And employers are increasingly requesting and preferring individuals who have postgraduate education, specifically looking for an MBA. And so the University of Lynchburg Sport Management concentration in the MBA program sets you up for success, and it sets you apart from the many other people looking for jobs in the industry. Learn from winners. Here you will learn from professors and mentors who have spent their careers doing exactly what you want to do. Increase your marketability in an $83 billion industry. If you have a 3.0 GPA, the GMAT is waived. There's no application fee, admissions occurs on a rolling basis, and our online program is ideal for working adults. When you enroll in this program, you enroll in the opportunity to learn from the best of the best. Your professors have a wealth of experience working in the sport industry that they share with you in the classroom setting. Get in the game by getting your MBA with a sport management concentration at the University of Lynchburg. Just you know, Hollywood, here I come. Hey, I meant, yeah.
Either. The real Lindsay Piper's here.
Autographs there later. Let's.
Cheer for the stumbles. That he should have had that. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
I learned a lot of valuable lessons playing college football. I never thought about the health benefits of exercise until I actually started to talk to coaches in college. It's not only just for performance, it's for life. My coaches instilled the importance of well-being, not only building up strength, mental health, getting enough sleep, eating properly is all what it is to be healthy. I decided that I want to go in a personal trainer and share my knowledge that I obtained in college about physical and mental well-being.
My name is Davion Washington Jr. I have the honor of serving as the student body president. I have 5 little siblings. I'm the oldest of, 6 siblings, and they look up to me. I'm setting the tone. I get to develop myself, make myself a better individual, but also I'm helping future generations, not even my family, but just future generations in general. I found my passion here. I found, the love for what I want to do. I just really had an amazing time here. It's changed, my outlook on life. You don't have to be famous to change lives. You don't have to be on the big screen or whatever. I change lives now, and I hope to continue to do that. Just same way that the University of Lynchburg has changed my life for the better.
At the University of Lynchburg, we've lowered our tuition, so you get a better value for a great education. Come see our campus for yourself.
All right, my name is Joshua Carr. I am a senior. I am a theater major as well as a history minor. I love the arts. I love acting. I love entertaining. I live in 5th Street, the historic black neighborhood. The money came in, transfer, scholarship, all that. I appreciate that greatly. I pay my own tuition. I ain't got no help. I pay everything myself. I mean, I'm smart too. So they gave it like, you smart, here. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that though. You come here to do a job. I came here to do a job. A student's job is to get that degree and make something of ourselves. We got everything for you. We got you a 24-hour library. You got these sorority fraternities. We got the shoot for you. Is you gonna put it on? That's how University of Lynchburg is. Success is in the details. You know what I'm saying? It's like you learn it, know better, do better. What I love is they allow us to speak. They want our voices to be heard. They want us to talk. They want us to bring up the discomfort. They respect our point of views. They respect Black Lives Matter. They respect the LGBT community. They respect those, you know what I'm saying? That's what I love about my school. They respect that and they allow us to showcase and voice our expressions. I love the diversity here. I love the different interests of people here. I can act, dance, sing, box, play football. I can do it all, you know what I'm saying? I can teach somebody that doesn't know what I know, and that person can teach me something that I don't know that they know. That's what you get here. You get diversity, you get different people with different knowledge coming together, sharing information and helping each other out. That's what I love. That's why I say people. I love the people here. College, think about it. If it's not for you, fall back. If it's for you, go further with it. And University of Lynchburg will be that choice. It's gonna be right there. They're gonna make the shoe. They're gonna do what it do. It's up for you to put that shoe on. So that's what I say.
Another look at some of the key plays from this first half between Lynchburg and Roanoke from Schellenberger Field. Both goalkeepers tested early, and Lynchburg really had the majority of opportunities early in this first half. One would think they might be the first to strike. That was not the case, though, because Roanoke was able to come back after a few missing efforts and find their way on in, courtesy of a Rebecca Carr assist. MC Petroselli finds the back of the net, and that is the difference maker as it stands 1-0 Roanoke.
Well, I love the play there from Rebecca Carr. We said you don't want to try to defend her one-on-one. The tactics would tell you that's why you send the ball to the corners down the sideline, so you can get a striker, you can get a wing matched up one-on-one with a defender. Really good cross. MC Petroselli to the right place. That's the difference maker right now. Lynchburg has had their share of chances in front of the net. Some were better than others, Evan, but they're going to need to create some more chances here in half number 2. You and I were just talking about how do you build up those attacks. Do you try to counterattack? Do you try to go to the corners? Do you try to go to the middle with the slow composed build-up. Got some options there for Lynchburg, and then obviously just how the play develops is going to dictate a lot of it as well. But the concepts for Dr. Todd Olson being discussed in the locker room right now, I'm sure.
Certainly questions that they hope to answer very soon, and as you see on your screen, very few statistics will separate these two teams from the first 45 minutes. But Roanoke has the upper hand as we move into the second half. For Lynchburg, maybe it starts with controlling a little bit more of the midfield, having better possession. For Roanoke, you got to think it's about learning to play in front because they only have one win this season. That's not to knock the Maroons. That's just mentioning the fact, okay, you went into that Sweetbriar game up 4 goals, and you really didn't have to worry. This is a tight contest, and you got to find the finish line.
That's exactly right. The lone win against Sweetbriar was 8-0, so that's a game where you can take the guardrails off and just sort of do whatever. No offense to Sweetbriar, but just the way the game played out, not exactly the same feel as going on the road to a powerhouse program in Lynchburg and holding on to a 1-goal advantage. So we've really got the same questions that we asked on Wednesday at halftime. Do you double down on your tactics, or do you deviate? Do you try a little bit of this, a little bit of that? And you only have 45 minutes, so it's not like you can tinker and experiment too much.
A lot to discover in this second 45 minutes. We will be back on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. We'll take one more break before the start of the second half here in the Hill City.
Welcome to the Campus Recreational Department at the University of Lynchburg. We believe in a student-centered approach to recreation, making sure that all students have fun and engaging activities that promotes wellness, personal growth, and community building.
Our team works to provide a variety of recreation opportunities for all our undergrad and graduate students.
Let's take a look at the different areas of Campus Rec.
Campus Recreation covers all outdoor recreation. Our team offers dozens of trips per semester, maintains recreation facilities on campus, and offers outdoor certificates and leadership training.
Intramurals is open to all students who wants to play on a team. We have men's, women's, and co-ed leagues for each sport we offer.
Those looking for next level competition can join club sports. These are student-led organizations with the support of Campus Recreation. You can join one of our established club sports, or you can start your own with our support.
Campus Recreation offers an excellent amount of opportunities to stay active, make new friends, and develop new skills. We hope to see you soon.
private education is too expensive? Think again. At the University of Lynchburg, you can get a personalized education for the cost of a state school. If you're commuting and you get our top scholarships, you could pay much less. And you get all that without the hassle of giant lecture halls. Our faculty know your name here and do more than just teach. You might even do research together and plan out your next career moves. Every great college has a great city. For Lynchburg, we are near urban areas with lots of restaurants, shopping, and events. Plus, we are one of the top schools in the area. Come see for yourself.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that. And it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us.
Second half ready to start here in the Hill City. The Lynchburg Hornets trail Roanoke 1-0. MC Petroselli got the goal in the first half, and Lynchburg is now once again at the crossroads of an equation they saw last time out against Washington and Lee. Trailed 1-0 going into the second half. Kyle, what has to happen differently today?
I think the quality chances need to happen again, but you have to finish some, and maybe that's an oversimplification. But for Lynchburg, we have seen the ball in the penalty box quite a bit here today, and we saw it quite a bit on Wednesday against Washington and Lee. Got to be sharper on the finishes, and that probably means different things to different players. For some players, it might mean don't settle and take a dribble and then shoot. Just go one touch and try to get in on the volley. For other players, it might mean, yeah, you need to settle it, pull it back out, stretch the defense again, make the second pass, make the third pass. But that probably all falls under got to be a little sharper offensively. I think Lynchburg's defense has been really solid. One note, Evan, it looks like Brooke Nicholson for Roanoke will be unavailable in half number 2. Has the boots off here with an injury on the sideline.
Looked like she sustained some contact to that ankle. We're unsure, so we won't speculate, but obviously that is a big loss for Roanoke if that stands. We know Nicholson is a very key part of this lineup, but Roanoke will have no problem with having confidence in this half, up a goal and looking to keep it that way. As this one's off Irigoyen, and Roanoke can keep it rolling. In that first half, it felt like there was a lot of back and forth, and it really stayed that way throughout the entire 45 minutes, regardless of the goal that was conceded. But the Maroons are going to try and keep a little more possession now.
And a key that you talked about that the coaches were big on today was the energy, the effort has to be there. Can't play in spurts, got to play hard the entire game. And again, it is, you know, substitutions are allowed. So I think Coach Todd Olson's saying, hey, give us all you got, and if we think you're not at full speed, we'll go get somebody else and make a sub. But let's play a little bit harder for the entire 90, or in this case, 45 now, as we are in half number 2 with Roanoke leading 1-0.
When at this stage of the season, if you don't give the hustle, you might have a substitute coming in either way. So why not go and really put your foot on the gas pedal? As Lynchburg ready to wind up, Haley Casey sends this one forward. Nice header, but the ball will find some open green, and now Roanoke once again can take their time. Great work on the near touchline from Alora Grakowski. She has been good all season. Someone who will just continue to give Lynchburg different looks. And now Megan Lauder, some contact and regains possession just outside of the 18. Space for the Hornets, a deflection that will just roll and turn into a benign threat. For a second, Lynchburg looked like they were going to have some open ground.
Really good from Lauder there on the move. You saw she got it with some space, looked around, thought about offloading quick, but then made a couple extra dribbles herself. So I think you like that. Again, unable to finish it off, though, if you're Lynchburg. You just got to keep giving yourself chances like that and opportunities.
Oh, here comes Rebecca Carr. She has been good all game long. Crosses it in. It's going to file all the way through and out. but just another example of how she finds the window. Lynchburg's defense has been caught napping a couple times today.
So good with the straight line sprints. She's got a lot of speed. First touch is always very good. And another cross that I think in hindsight maybe she could have got a little further away from the goal, but it's the right play there from Rebecca Carr. She continues to really be the straw that stirs the drink right now for the Roanoke Maroons.
How much more does she have left is the question, as Roanoke is looking to her more often than not. That assignment for Haley Casey has been a big one in the back line, and now the Maroons once again using that power in the midfield. It's just a little better from Ava Olsen as she recollects. The Hornets now trying to file through, and an option in the middle with Morgan Oliver.
That was nice from Olsen there. Just keep digging, just keep fighting, and eventually getting the ball back.
This time, Rebecca Carr back to business. Haley Casey has other plans. Turning towards the touchline. Wow, look at the speed from Carr. She just creates problems with every single situation.
She does. She's so tall, too, and rangy. She just kind of gallops out there. It's almost like she can take 4 steps in the space you take 5 or 6. And, again, her touch is so good. We even saw it with the head there, just kind of a self-flick up into some space.
Here comes Carr about a foot wide of the pipe. There you go. Case in point, it feels like every single time she has the ball at her feet, she's making a contribution, and Meredith Bowers just had to watch that one.
Yeah, she's so dangerous. Lynchburg knows that. That's not going to make the coaching staff real happy to know that they gave her that much room with a strong right foot. But Hornets dodge a little bit of a bullet.
Now trying to move the other way. Roanoke can recollect and see if they get the clearance off cleanly. The ODAC today, we mentioned it is a busy day. So far, 3 results have gone final. Randolph beats Sweetbriar 3-1. Virginia Wesleyan gets their second win against EMU 4-0. And then Washington and Lee took care of business against Randolph-Macon 4-1. As Carr takes another shot, Bowers had to go to the ground. Another nice save for the senior.
Carr with another good setup, a little far away, but got good wood on it. Went kind of cross body back to the left post. Bowers saw that one the whole way. Good job to get on the ground and gobble it up.
This mid-table affair between 2 familiar foes right now going Roanoke's way. Lynchburg trying to re-enter the picture, and we have seen a lot of strong contact in the midfield. Right now, Roanoke has just done better of extinguishing these threats, and here comes the run the other way. Haley Casey this time can just watch this one roll all the way back.
You know what Lynchburg's had a little trouble with today, Evan? It's the transition from level to level, meaning defense to midfield or midfield up to the strikers. It seems like they're pretty good in each individual level, but it's moving up the field. Again, you could call that the build-up if you want to, but it just has not been clean enough for Lynchburg.
That is a great point as well, because you look at last game as well, and the passes that go awry, they're never the close ones. You're looking up the field, or you're really finding the touchline quicker rather than not. And for Lynchburg, I think it's about trying to get those through balls, or how much can you engage the midfield.
Yeah, maybe the lofted through ball a little bit more. Again, think 3-dimensionally a little bit more, possibly. It's all easy to say from up here, right? When you're looking at the game from up here and you're not playing it, you've got all the answers all the time. The players, it's such split-second decision. You're under pressure. Here's a good long pass that might unlock something.
Uruguayan has speed. She's just trying to find the angle. Now, through ball that maybe will file through. Morgan Oliver now gives chase. 2 Hornets on the far side, and that's enough pressure to earn a throw.
Good clear by Casey Schmidt, because that was a 2-on-1. Lynchburg was going to trap her there. Good job just to eject it out of play.
Great touch from Madeline Boyce as well. The Maroons will clear. That was a better example of looking forward. Lynchburg, though it wasn't exactly a clean pass, does earn possession in the attacking third, something they've been searching for in the second half. Now trying to go back that way. Physicality from this Roanoke defense, and there's a pass that files through again.
Yeah, slight misplay there. Tough one for Irigoyen. We know how talented she is. Might have just been thinking one play ahead and just didn't quite collect the pass on her foot.
Oh, and now the Maroons have empty space. Grakowski trying to get back. Lauren Fisher Sends the pass forward. A lot of space for Roanoke as they sail this shot over, but another good connection. Roanoke is just continuing to pepper with this front line. So many good passes.
Yeah, and they're favoring that quicker build-up really with just the strikers. Long pass, just let the 2 or 3 up front do the dirty work. Midfield and defense not really getting involved, which when you have a 1-0 lead is pretty smart, right? Because you leave your mids and your defense where they're supposed to be.
This is a team that had 7 assists in that 8-goal affair versus Sweetbriar, and the problem this year has really been scoring goals. They've had a lot of good passes to do it. Lynchburg wants a good one, as this one's a little too easy for Sushi. She just knocks it down, but another threat from Lynchburg as they get out on the run.
Yeah, good setup over there. I think Lynchburg has the right idea now. Roanoke, back to what I said, probably playing the way they should be playing. Don't become a victim to a Lynchburg counterattack. Keep your defense structured and set. Let your strikers do the freelancing and the goal scoring creation up front.
We mentioned it at the outset. There's so much power up front. It extends beyond Rebecca Carr. We mentioned Brooke Nicholson earlier, MC Petroselli. Lauren Fisher, someone who got a goal last time out. Just 2 goals to Lauren Fisher's name. She has a role that extends beyond just being a forward for this Roanoke squad. Got her first of the 2024 campaign versus Sweetbriar, as this one is going to go all the way down to the goal line.
I like looking for Irigoyen right there down in the deep corner. She's made some long runs, and we know Wellington will come in and play that right wing spot as well. I feel like Irigoyen's got a chance to really create something here. I think Lynchburg's been looking for, trying to get her activated. Might get a touch here, potentially.
Coach Olson mentioned at the beginning of the season she's playing some of the best soccer of her life. You see it with the speed and the poise she has, a little misdirection. She has her hands full. This is a great battle by the near touchline. Here comes Irigoyen. She finds just enough space. Oh, wow. The Hornets had a great opportunity. And now round 2, trying to file on through. Morgan Oliver had it a little too high. It was a great chance, but Ava Olsen hit the turf. And Irigoyen almost tallied another assist.
A lot of applause from the Lynchburg bench. There should be. I thought I had a little foreshadowing moment, Evan, as Irigoyen. I said they were going to try to get her activated. Really good job to get down near the goal line, then square the shoulders, and pretty good serve in front, and then Lynchburg got take 2. Back to what we've been saying, it's really a theme and a storyline today. Lynchburg has had chances. They just cannot close the deal. Can't get the ink dry on the goal-scoring contract just yet.
Emily Moffitt played some fantastic defense on that possession as well, but Irigoyen just had 1 inch. So you see, this is the shot from Oliver. Just a couple feet down, and she might have snuck it in that top left corner. Either way, Lynchburg's going to have to settle for the moment with playing defense. Haley Casey disrupts this pass. They were looking for Carr up front.
Real quick, though, just check your screen here for Roanoke. Only 3 players really in the attacking third. A 4th is going to come up. They're mindful about preventing a Lynchburg counterattack, which is really smart. I wonder, as the half winds down, if we see Rebecca Carr go back and play some midfield or even defense. You know, if you're protecting a lead, why not get your best player in the key spots? Right now, I think we can all agree Rebecca Carr has been the best for Roanoke. No offense to MC Petroselli, who has the goal.
She certainly has wheels as well, and so sometimes you do want to employ some of your attackers at the midfield. Here's Meredith Bowers rolling it out to Grukowski. Can start to get late pretty early in the second half if you wait around, and Lynchburg is in a situation where they do not want to try and rely on the last 10 minutes to get that goal score. We saw against Washington and Lee, even if you do just about everything perfectly, you might still not come away with the result. This Hornets team has continued to find ways, and when you look at last season, a lot of second half goals that would be game winners. They're trying to find it here.
Look at Irigoyen, making herself available again, Evan.
There's that run, and you just see so much attention that she earns as this one rolls out. You don't always look at the pitch and get to pick out a few players who stand out, but with Uruguayan speed, if you aren't even a big fan of soccer, you can tell she makes an impact almost every time she has the ball.
Yeah, you're right. Somebody with no soccer understanding is going to figure out why she's good. You're seeing it right here on the foot.
Looking outside, better defense from Roanoke, and Lynchburg will have to reconstruct the blueprint as Casey goes all the way back to Bowers. And player down for the Maroons, it is Emily Moffitt, who has had that assignment of Liliana Sirigoyen.
Yeah, so she's been working pretty hard out there. And Irigoyen, you can just see as she comes to the sideline, she is gassed, hunched over, trying to get a little extra air in the lungs. We're not quite halfway through half number 2, Evan, but I think it's gone the way Roanoke probably would have preferred. Yes, you'd love a second goal, a little insurance goal. But right now the Maroons should be feeling okay. For Lynchburg, I mean, it's the same story. Some chances, no conversions just yet.
Roanoke is certainly going to be fresh as well. Almost a week between each of their last 3 matches. And when you look at that, you know, it might not have as much of an impact in soccer because you're not playing as many times, but to have an entire week to go back, look at film, and just rest your players, these 30 minutes are what dictate that.
And that's a great point. I don't know that we've talked a ton about Lynchburg and how much it took out of them physically on Wednesday, losing to Washington and Lee. It was a hard game. I know we talked about what it took out of Lynchburg mentally and emotionally, but maybe Lynchburg still feeling some of the after effects physically from a tough one Wednesday night.
You can tell just trying to force a little too much, too, with the run. Grakowski couldn't come up with it. Now on the far side of the field, it was Petroselli who looked to make a difference. It won't matter. Lynchburg gets the throw, but a late whistle will be a substitution as Lauren Orner re-enters the contest, and it will be Morgan Oliver going to the sideline.
Lauren Orner, of course, the 88th minute goal on Wednesday to get Lynchburg within striking distance. Made it high drama there for the final 2 minutes. And Orner is more than capable of making an impact in this one off the bench. Should be some fresh legs out there to operate with.
Maybe the mildest goal celebration you're going to have in your life when you score in the 88th and you're trying to get one more back. It was stellar work from Lauren Orner. She had a great chance created, and the thing about the sophomore from Reisterstown that is just so impressive is the fact that every single time she is on the field, in the midfield, you got to understand she's doing everything for this Hornet squad.
For sure. Understands that dribble pass decision really well. She's a good defender in open space and can read the defenses a little bit of everything from her.
Connection unable to happen as Lauder was looking forward, and now Lynchburg once again opening up the field. We'll see if they reverse to the other side. It's Irigoyen once again, this one-on-one. That time a little bit of a better touch from Moffitt, but space created. Irigoyen wanted to wind and fire. You can tell Roanoke starting to shift this defense maybe on their heels a little bit more now as Lynchburg extends it out wide.
That would have been a little audacious there from Irigoyen, but don't hate to try. It still might lead to something as there's some physical stuff, and the keeper, Suchi's going to come out and take the air out of this Hornet attack.
It was a very unconventional attack. You saw a few players going down for Lynchburg, but Suchi didn't have a problem so far maintaining the clean sheet through 60 minutes. Now Ava Olsen has the touch. Oh, Irigoyen just couldn't find it. Now Roanoke in this midfield, they have played so tough. They've done so well to maintain possession where it's mattered.
A little bit more pass and move right now from Lynchburg would be good. Back to all the answers come very easy up here in the press box. And you got to have players open to do the pass and move style of soccer as well.
It can be so difficult for this Lynchburg offense as well because it has been the question mark in recent years. This defense hasn't really caused any problems. If you look at last year, they allowed 5 goals in 10 conference matches. And so you do know that that back line is stellar, and even if you allow 1, you still like your chances, but you got to find the right personnel for the attack.
Yeah, yet to see Wellington here in half two, Evan. I'm wondering if that's a move that we won't see, or if Dr. Olson is just waiting a little bit to get one of the true speedsters for Lynchburg out there on the wings again. It looks like we do have a sub waiting to go in. Hannah Phillips, maybe, the freshman. Oh, and now we are going to see two more, and I think Wellington's in that group there, if I'm not mistaken.
The reinforcements with Ella Irons and Sejal Wellington have been very productive this season, and you start to see the script get a little messier in the second half. You put in different lineups, and the question is who will be the one to maybe equalize. Right now, Alora Grakowski was spaced. She goes out wide and immediately knew it was offsides.
Tough one there. That attack had some promise. And, again, I don't think it was an offside trap by Roanoke. Just a little bit too early on the break there from Irigoyen. And tough break for Lynchburg.
Grakowski might have had space if she kept going left as well. It would have been a tough one-on-one, but maybe getting into the box. Hindsight's 20/20, and Sushi will send this one off to the Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, and that sun is really going to impact the Roanoke side defensively.
Here's Rebecca Carr again. Haley Casey playing tight defense on that far side. The Maroons do have space. They send this one. It's too high as Bowers was backpedaling and maybe a little lucky with where she was positioned. It'll be a goal kick for Lynchburg, and here come those substitutions.
Well, really good offensive concept there for Roanoke. A lot of times, you know, as a teammate, you tend to just keep running away from the ball, trying to give the dribbler space. That time, the little overlap, Carr left it off, and that ends up being a pretty decent shot attempt. Let's see how the subs can potentially breathe some new life into the Lynchburg offensive arsenal.
This is the time of the game that can be so crucial. You've had players go to war, and someone like Liliana Sirigoyen, who has been constantly active on that wing, will need a few minutes to get that breather and get ready for the final 10 minutes. The Hornets still searching for the equalizer. They have played well, but Roanoke maybe a little better in the second half. Now, a connection. Wellington giving chase. Sushi is out, and a quick roll to send it the other way.
Another one that had some promise there. I see Associate Head Coach Nat Deacon and Dr. Todd Olson in deep conversation down there on the sideline, so we may see more moves and more tactical adjustments. We're continuing to see the physical soccer today as a lot of shoulder to shoulder, some little chippiness, some players playing with passion, which you love. Our officials seem to be letting the gals play out there.
Here comes Ella Irons, who fires. Deflection off the Maroons defender, and once again, the door just keeps on closing. It was McAuliffe who was in the right spot. Lynchburg now looking for round two. That was a little contact that maybe the Maroons get away with, and the clearance all the way to the Lynchburg back line.
Yeah, good little trio tackle there for Roanoke. Lynchburg, I really like what they're doing here. Lynchburg seems to be attacking with more confidence, trying to find the angles, trying to open up the Roanoke defense a bit. Little slight injury here. So, yeah.
Once again, it's been that battle between the Lynchburg wings and Emily Moffitt.
Moffitt called to the sideline, said you might want to think about getting a sub there. I don't know if you saw that, the gesture, Evan. Free kick opportunity coming for Lynchburg. It's like the same setup, overload left side, two-person wall in front. See how Lynchburg opts to proceed from here.
This is a big one, and Lynchburg has really capitalized on set pieces. Just two on the wall for Roanoke. Can the Hornets get it done? Kick stays in the air. Casey was there. Wellington's going to have a good look and still can't connect. Hannah Phillips took a late stab at it, and it looked like Wellington might have still had the shot on goal if it would have filed all the way through. And now the Hornets, once again, trying to keep that pressure.
Wow, we have to list that along with all the other ones. A great setup, a great opportunity for Lynchburg. Ball really floated nice high in the air for Lynchburg. And then the second chance, rebound out to Wellington. Just didn't quite to get boot to belly the way she wanted to. Not a clean touch for her. She would love to have that one back. And the way this game is gone, you feel like Lynchburg will get more chances. Time is waning, though. 23-35 remaining in the contest. Still just the 1-0 Roanoke lead.
And 4 substitutions on deck for Roanoke as well, so they might send their reinforcements and try to get suited up for the finale of this game. Riley Dobransky, Helene Miller, Gillian Kennedy, and Natalia Cage will wait on the side of the track. Looks like the Maroons might also usher in Emily Stockdale. For the moment, it's going to be a free kick for the Maroons. What a dagger it would be at this stage of the contest if Roanoke finds the second.
Well, and really in this second half, this will be about the first time Roanoke has had a true 5, 6, 7 player attack get set up. It's mainly been the strikers up front, but now, although as I say that, Lynchburg seems to be getting the ball back in the midfield and maybe a chance to counter.
Hannah Phillips, a nice header forward. Wellington, nice work to watch the trajectory. Oh, a little extracurricular stuff. It doesn't matter as Michaela Metzler earns the ball for Roanoke. Here comes Lauren Fisher. Down the near touchline, Grakowski. Strong tackle just to send it off into the touchline. So stellar contact from Lynchburg. When you look at this defensively, they've played it pretty clean throughout the game, but once again, just the one insurrection has been enough.
Rebecca Carr, actually one of the subs coming off. We saw her exit around this time in half number 1, so not a total surprise. I was thinking maybe she'd go back and play some midfield or defense potentially, but not yet anyway. Throw comes in clean, and the keeper Bowers will scoop, and looked like she initially thought about maybe a quick outlet throw, and now she'll back it off and go to the punt instead.
Oh, a nice backheel touch from Warner in the midfield. Now Lynchburg still trying to possess. Easier said than done. This Roanoke defense has been all over, and you understand that they are constantly still looking to move forward, even if it's with a little less urgency. But Lynchburg has just struggled to find the attacking third. You saw a few promising minutes and a shot fired from Sejal Wellington. But ultimately, Lynchburg up against the same challenge as Cage looks to send it forward on the other side. Lynchburg can settle.
Good use of the dribble there, and then the long pass not on target, and that's been part of the hang-up for Lynchburg. Their long passing just not quite accurate enough. And look, you have to try some long passes to break down the defense. You're never just going to make short little 5- and 10-yard passes and get to the goal mouth that way. But you'd like those long passes to have a little bit higher completion percentage right now if you're Lynchburg.
Ella Irons takes the look to Warner in the midfield. Quick reversal. Natalia Cage is playing well in defense, but Haley Casey saying, I'm going to do it myself. This one files through to Wellington, and you see Casey continues her run. Look at the strength. No call, and it might be a late one as the whistle comes in. Lynchburg will earn the free kick. It was a very late whistle from the referee, but Haley Casey sold it enough, and I don't think she had to do much with that one. It was strong contact, and now Sammy Rogstad with an excellent opportunity for Lynchburg to knot it up at 1.
It looks like the Hornets are going to go with a similar configuration. They look to the sideline to get the call from the coaches. Appears to just be the 2-person wall in front again. This could be a key moment.
Rogstad fires. It's on frame, and it goes in. Sammy Rogstad, the freshman, playing savior for Lynchburg. She delivers and seals the first goal of the contest for Lynchburg. Knot it up, folks.
Well, if I had just another split second, Evan, I was going to say this is one that's in range that she could try to pull and take a shot. She did not miss. Talk about the placement right under the crossbar. That is fantastic, and Lynchburg has equalized.
Someone like Haley Casey deserves so much attention in the box for Lynchburg with their aggression, and sometimes that causes everyone else to forget the fact that the goal was unattended. Sushi just ran out of room, and Sammy Rogstad showing us what she can do in a phenomenal freshman campaign. She has her first goal as a Hornet.
You love that. The strike is just perfect. Sushi was in the right place. The sun was not the issue there. It was just the vertical leap. She could not quite get up high enough as that ball slid over her gloved hand and under the crossbar. 1-1 ball game, Mr. Gates, and this is really good now. How about a fantastic finish? The goal comes with 19:25 left to play in half two.
Remember the first 70 minutes? Forget it. It's a new ball game, and the final 20 will have the ending to the story in what has been a very back-and-forth contest in the Hill City.
How do you play now if you're Roanoke? By the way, their star, Rebecca Carr, is back on the pitch, which makes perfect sense now in a tie ball game. She will be option 1A for Roanoke, trying to run into one right now. Still a battle, yeah.
Wow, somehow still got the cross off. It does go behind the goal, so it won't matter as it's out. We mentioned Brooke Nicholson not playing in the second half, and I think for Roanoke right now, they are okay with their options because you even saw when they were playing up a goal, they had so much composure on those wings, but you wonder if that's going to be a problem when they're trying to search for the attack.
No doubt. That's got to be in the conversation right now, the Roanoke sideline. How do you make up for the loss of one of your keys?
Now Morgan Oliver on the far side. Ushers the pass. Ella Irons with space and two Maroons defenders. She just goes right down the middle. Main Street's open for Lynchburg. Irons fires just away from the corner and what would have been a statement goal for Lynchburg. Wow.
Love it, love it. You're sprinting forward, ball is moving forward, so it tends to be tough to keep those on the ground, Evan. You kind of have to try to one-hop it into the keeper to actually keep that ball in play like that, but a great setup. I think Lynchburg's got the initiative, got the momentum. They're forcing Roanoke to react to their play right now. Feels like the Hornets are winning the battle, even though it's a 1-1 game right now. Feels like the Hornets are winning the proceedings, but that can change at any moment.
Have to imagine you're earning a stamp of approval from this Lynchburg coaching staff, a staff that has really searched for the energy and the hustle and the grit down the stretch. These are the moments that Lynchburg needs to capitalize in. They have waited all season long just to finally see it on the scoreboard, and this is a golden opportunity with plenty of time left.
And if you're Lynchburg, you want to keep the pressure on Roanoke, but it needs to be in the right ways, kind of maybe a speed limit concept. Get as close to that 65-mile-an-hour limit as you can, but don't go over and don't take any drastic chances.
Here's a great ball forward as Sushi did just enough to escape the problem for the time being, but the Maroons are going to run out of room on the far touchline.
I don't know that Sushi was ready for the pass back, but quick fancy footwork there, and that'll let Roanoke get the back line a bit more structured, more rough and tumble here.
No call as Warner hits the turf. Maroons head the other way. Now looking for space, and they do find Rebecca Carr. Ooh, she just whiffs on this one. Grakowski gets it out. Maybe it was intended, but now Roanoke can settle, and they're attacking third with a throw. It's a pair of substitutions as Lauren Rubino enters the contest with Irene Orndorff.
Couple really new faces for Roanoke, right, Evan? I'm not sure we saw those two in half number one. Don't quote me on that, but.
Well, and you wonder, too, at this stage, if you're just trying to throw different looks. Rubino has been very solid throughout her Roanoke tenure. 2023 third-team All-ODAC selection with 19 starts and over 1,100 minutes. She has the experience, and now Irons, another veteran on the other side, sending it forward to Hannah Phillips. Pressed on that far touchline, but she has space. It goes forward to Irons. Sushi makes a great save and goes down to the turf. There was a late challenge. The Lynchburg sideline very vocal about it, but the referee is going to give a goal kick.
Well, fantastic soccer again. A great sprint from the sideline for Lynchburg. They're going to all the right areas, making themselves available for the cross. Sushi lays out with a good save. Fantastic stuff. Here's another look at it.
That low cross, almost a taste of Roanoke's own medicine from earlier in the contest, and Irons had it right at her foot, just couldn't finish.
Fans getting their money's worth here. That was really fun to watch.
Ooh, and now Lynchburg back with space again. Here's Ella Irons. Her size and speed up front have been utilized quite frequently throughout this one, but runs out of steam that time.
Yeah, and is it just me, or has the play from the wings, sideline attacking, been quite a bit better here from Lynchburg? We thought maybe that lacked a little bit on Wednesday. I think it's been better tonight. A variety of personnel have been involved in that. But overall, I think Coach Dr. Todd Olson should like what his squad has given him in that department.
Certainly a fresh new look in Lynchburg, who has had the same personnel from last year on those wings. You lose Vic Newman, but everybody else still in the equation. It just feels like they need that extra wave of energy, that extra something, and what a statement it has been when you see some of the runs they've made today. Now Roanoke searching, just trying to find their spot in the picture again after what has been a monumental momentum shift in the second half. But now might be the answer. Rebecca Carr out in space. Haley Casey's going to have to play A-plus defense as Carr looks to move forward. Oh, triple collision. Everybody goes down. Play on.
Perfectly played there. It's that 1.5 defender concept, Evan. You get the initial defender on her. Second player is there for when she makes the move. And Lynchburg, I think, has got to feel really good about that sequence defensively. That is exactly how you mark a talented goal scorer. And, of course, Carr, not just a goal scorer, she's a distributor as well.
So many people who can facilitate the offense for Roanoke, and they've got a free kick. Will we see another chance here? Maroons, easy for Bowers. And that's going to be a quick threat that Sage Wellington might try to convert into easy offense. Here comes Tenon White down the near touchline. Misdirection into the front. Warner's looking for the through ball. Wellington's taking it all the way. One-on-one with Sushi. She runs into trouble, and now Roanoke can clear. It was a golden chance for Lynchburg. Now Grakowski sends in the second wave. Runs this one through. Ball's loose, and Sushi's out of position. Maroons have to be catching their breath because Lynchburg is starting to taste blood again in the second half.
My goodness. Wellington was all over the turf here at Shelley, and she just had it on a string. It was point and click for her out there. They couldn't quite finish off what was just a dynamite individual effort. And Lynchburg had some chances after that as well. That was fun to watch. Wellington thinks she was coming out anyway, but a well-deserved breather after that run, Evan. She might have emptied the tank right there just in that last 30 seconds of soccer. That was fantastic.
Look at the footwork and the misdirection, and just a touch too heavy. You see the second chance here from Grakowski. And if Sushi doesn't get on that one, you just don't know what's going to happen. Here's Irons firing it forward. It goes all the way, and now Lynchburg has a corner.
Again, it just feels like Lynchburg is beating Roanoke to the punch right now. They've got things going their way. They've equalized. Now let's see if Lynchburg can jump out in front. Good chance for it here.
The Hornets, maybe with their best chances of the match. They're looking to keep them going. McKenna Dom from the far corner. Ready to send it in near the keeper. Sushi has to watch as it takes a deflection and rattles out. You know, Lynchburg has been so good in these corners, and you saw it in the late stages of last match. Can they do it again?
Well marshaled there by Roanoke, and then smart. Don't dribble or fool around with any of that. Just get it to the sideline, set the defense up again.
Now the Hornets working to the middle of the field. Chance created. Sushi's going to have to watch it on a hop. And no one around to cause any more trouble. She'll just slow things down for this Roanoke defense that is really struggling right now to keep Lynchburg out of the box.
11 to play. And again, the danger for Lynchburg can be you're attacking often, you're getting chances, you start leaking more and more forward, defense starts coming up, kind of get caught spectating, and then you get burned with the counterattack, and we know Rebecca Carr can be a one-woman counterattack. So you have to be mindful of that, but you also have to keep pressuring if you're Lynchburg. I think eventually you feel like a breakthrough's coming.
Here comes Ella Irons, fires. Sushi has to watch this one again. Another chance created from Lynchburg's wings. Sushi is certainly doing everything she can to keep the Maroons knotted up at one.
High marks for the sophomore from Montgomery, New York. You know where she's really good is after she's made the save and then going to reel in the rebound. We've seen that a couple times from her. Pretty active when she gets down on the turf.
This pass a little too far, and maybe Lynchburg just a little too anxious as a trio of substitutions make their way back onto the field for Roanoke. Reese Pengel, along with Emily Moffitt and Jenna Wadden.
Those scrambles are something that keepers do work on quite a bit, Evan, in their drill work, because so often you have to make the initial save, and then how quickly can you get back to your feet and find the ball again? And it seems like Sushi has been well drilled in that department.
You don't always see it in soccer compared to other sports, but the ground game can be just as important. When you look at field hockey goalkeepers and other sports, it's so important to know every single angle of the goal or the cage you're protecting.
Yeah, such a big goal you have to protect as a soccer keeper as well. It's so impressive to watch those guys and gals, what they do back there. And it really is such a different part of soccer.
Now on the far touchline, strong challenge, and Hornets do enough to earn another free kick. They have been very strong in the far side of the field. Looked like Ava Olsen was the one who drew that contact. And now, just under 9 minutes to go. Lynchburg searching for the answer.
Yeah, you look at the setup here. There are 21 players on this side of the field, which tells you about how much Lynchburg is pressuring and how hard Roanoke is having to defend. The only player on the other side of the sideline is Lynchburg's keeper, Meredith Bowers.
If you're a coach, that's about as perfect as it can get, but Lynchburg does still have to find the goal. And the question that has been posed really in the last couple of seasons is right on the doorstep once again.
When we were saying that for 70 minutes of this one before Lynchburg finally got the equalizer. A look at Irigoyen there as she watches. I guess they're attending to the boot of Sushi, the keeper. Hard to tie your shoes when you got the gloves on. So she got a little assistance from the teammate. Gamesmanship, maybe trying to slow Lynchburg down a bit there. I don't know. I'm asking you. I don't know if there's a right answer.
That's right. And you got to, at this stage of the match, we got to throw everything into the equation, right? You just never know. Sushi has been fantastic, though. So
she has.
Who knows if she needs the extra break.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes you'll see the keeper just rip the gloves off and tie it themselves. But she had the defender come over and give her some assistance, and the referee allowed it. So, hey, whatever you can get away with, right? You didn't see the rest of the Roanoke players run to the sideline for instruction from the coach, so I'm thinking probably not in the gamesmanship department, but you never know.
That's right. Maybe just some chemistry building.
There you go.
Dom gets a little tangled up in midfield, and Roanoke earns the call. Wow, hands on heads on the Lynchburg sideline as Dom was doing everything she could to fend off Rubino. And now Roanoke is going to have a free stab at it from midfield.
I personally like it when the officials let our ladies play a little bit. I think most players prefer a little bit of a physical game, and we've seen it today.
This one rattles around in the box, and we'll see if Roanoke can make an extended stay there. They have struggled to re-find it after Lynchburg has started their runs. Warner takes a tumble near midfield. Maybe a few words after the play as this one rattles all the way out. Another thing you got to speculate on. You're standing in the press box and you're watching something about 30, 40 yards on the other side of the field.
Exactly. You're trying to read body language and you're saying, oh, was something said there? What did the referee say? All those things. Ooh, here's a call that's going to go Lynchburg's way. They want to go quickly, and they'll slow down now. I thought Lynchburg was going to take off and use a chance to get that ball back in play faster than they did.
Well, let's see what Lynchburg chooses to do here. It looks like Lacey Garner's just going to lace this one into the box as the Hornets stay on sides. Nice work, but just not enough. Lauren Orner is so crafty. And as time ticks down, now Roanoke trying to create another opportunity.
I was thinking the same thing there. How great was that from Orner? Just kind of chest down, settle, use the feet, use the head. Didn't result in anything, but it looks like the moment's not going to be too big for her. That was very confident.
Very similar style to Sammy Rogstad maybe when you see some of the footwork and just the feel for the game. This IQ has been so impressive, and two players that Coach Olson is very keen on when he's using his lineup in the late stages of games. We've seen it throughout the season. Here's a double change. Roanoke will go out with MC Petroselli, and Lynchburg brings back Madeline Boyce.
Yeah, some more speed on the wings with Boyce. And if you notice Lynchburg's substitution patterns, that's generally where it's been happening. Wellington, Boyce, the different combinations Lynchburg can use there. Get some speed down the sidelines. Still a 1-1 game. Again, it feels like Lynchburg's leading, but they're not.
Feel like that's a statement that really captures all of last season. That was what they were up against. In a lot of matches here on Schellenberger Field, they found the answer. They had 3 matches at home where they had a second half game-winning goal to make it 2-1. And in a very similar spot here, they've had to climb from down 1-0. And it just feels like the clock is a little bit too quick at the moment. Can Lynchburg find the urgency once more?
Casey Schmidt back in for Roanoke. Claire Lloyd, I think, back in for Lynchburg.
Yes.
That look right, Evan? Yep.
Adding on to that back line once again. We've seen Lloyd have that substitution with Lacey Garner. They have both played well marking Roanoke's wings, and now the Maroons once again back to the puzzle. Still on Lynchburg's half of the field. Their attacking half, rather, and we see a quick throw.
Yeah. That was fun. It was a little grab-and-go throw.
That's right. Hot potato as Morgan Oliver was set and ready to shoot. She just gets it middle of the box. Ella Irons now with space. Fires the first time. Can't get it to go. Irigoyen now comes into contact. Lynchburg swarming all around. They'll look to go wide. Here comes Irigoyen again. Searching middle of the field. Long tap out front. She's going to the turf. And this ball will roll all the way down the touchline. It'll be a throw for Lynchburg.
Irigoyen going through her opponent's legs there. A little slow to get up.
The Hornets are still going. Roanoke wants a stoppage.
Yeah, they want a stoppage for an injury. Sub coming in. Now Irigoyen's a little banged up, slow to get up.
Wow, and everybody going after it now. You think after the last play, Roanoke might not be apt to stop things. Irigoyen is on her feet. Looks like it might have been her wrist or her arm that got tangled up on that play. You see immediately just looked a little awkward.
Great call by you. I think that's exactly right. Went down on it or possibly the arm colliding with the defender. But yes, a physical game. Repeating that again. And there's no but or however or anything after that. It's just it's been that kind of a game. The referee is allowing things like you just saw there on the Lynchburg goal line. You see the ref come over and just give a little word to the two players. He has opted for that style of officiating rather than blowing the whistle a lot, rather than showing cards. It's more, hey, let's not do that again. And again, I'm not following it up with a but or a however. I'm just telling you that's how the game has been.
That's right. And especially for someone like Haley Casey who gets every team's best assignment, you understand she's probably going to have a little firepower going into each match. She's not exactly going to just sit there and keep it cool, calm, and collected all the time. Got to have a little bit of aggression, and that is obviously, as you said, how it's been officiated.
What a ball.
Lynchburg wants to make the result official. Here comes Irons working towards the goal line. Now it's pocket of space, trying to get the cross in. It's just going to roll on out, but Lynchburg in a good position again.
What a ball. Long diagonal, strong pass to get this offensive session started.
Irons, pass deflected out to Olson. Surveying are the Hornets. It's not exactly desperation time, still sitting 1-1, but it would take what would feel like another miracle goal to make it happen. The Hornets got it in the 88th minute last time out. They almost got one in the 90th. As you see, Irons just nice patience on that last play in the box. This time it rattles out. Maroons trying to save it.
This ball's still in play. Looked like it might have gone out. Got to be careful here. Don't be afraid to use the keeper. That works too for Lynchburg. Offensively for Lynchburg, you know, phrase you hear from coaches a lot. about the offense is you're one pass away.
And this pass almost connects. Boyce has Sushi out of the box. Lynchburg looking to press forward now, and Grukowski has speed. Presses it forward to Oliver.
Feels like Lynchburg's been one pass away all game. It's got to be the right pass, though.
Morgan Oliver, will she take a shot? It's a pass to the middle that does not connect, and Lauren Fisher looks to go the other way for Roanoke. Rebecca Carr sitting one-on-one. Oh, if you're Haley Casey, you got to play great defense. Carr moving forward. Oh, it was a strong challenge. Nothing doing. Everybody hitting the ground now.
Both benches have been asking for fouls all day, but again, our official is letting them play. That was danger. That was dangerous with Rebecca Carr on the move over there.
Now Bowers collects. The clock is just outside of 90 seconds from expiring. It would take a huge goal now, and Lynchburg needs to reel up if they want one more chance. It feels like a little bit of that steam has been extinguished from how Roanoke has defended.
Agreed, and both teams look gassed here. I mean, both teams, I think, have emptied the tank. We're seeing the ball take a lot longer to get put back in play generally, a little bit more standing around, more jogging, less sprinting. Does Lynchburg have enough gasoline for one final push here? 60 seconds to play, Evan, 1-1 ball game.
If the energy's on the ropes, maybe now's the time to strike. Ella Irons looking to go middle of the field again. It's a one-person effort. Oh, Irons hit the crossbar. It's oddly reminiscent of what we saw on Wednesday. Ella Irons was inches away from equalizing. Wow.
It has really been must-see soccer at Shelley the last two times we have been out. Athletic trainers are going to get called out to look at a player from Roanoke. I mean, wow. Wow. Have another look.
This is post close. The crossbar, the best defender right now, as Roanoke was stopped in their tracks. And another extremely tight opportunity, and Lynchburg just can't crawl through the window.
We thought the final 2 minutes or 90 seconds of Wednesday's game was the best finish we were ever going to see. This one is shaping up to rival that. We still have 42 seconds, and both teams get a chance to rehearse the game plan here and figure out what they want to have happen here in the final stages of a 1-1 ball game. This is just outstanding. Outstanding is not a good enough word. We have seen some really, really great soccer here the last two matches on Shelley.
You see Haley Casey on your screen right now, one of those defenders who has just been so crucial for Lynchburg, and it's the fact that it has taken the nth amount of energy to get it done. And then how about Grace Sushi talking to this defense saying, well, we need to make sure the door is all on the bolts, everything's tight and shut these last 42 seconds, because it has been a very close game in these last 10 minutes to turn it into a 2-1 affair. We'll see if we can corroborate who the injured player was. It does look like she's up and walking off for Roanoke. And looks like number 22, Casey Schmidt, walking a little gingerly off the field. We hope that she's okay, and a little extra contact near the end of that play. Here's another look at it. Wow. Just looks like a block in basketball, the way it comes back.
Yeah, and then you saw a little bit of the aftermath there. Even after the crossbar, Lynchburg had a couple players sprinting towards the rebound, but just never quite know how those are going to come off. You try to redirect and change directions. Lynchburg ended up having two kind of in awkward places there. Fortunate for Roanoke. The Maroons scored first. It's a 1-1 ball game. Here we go, final 42.
We'll see if Lynchburg has one final wrinkle. Close play on the far side. Wellington with space. She's going to earn a corner. They're sprinting to the side, and Wellington's going to be the one to take it. Here we go. Will they go short, or do they play it in? Is it a miracle in the Hill City? This one is batted out from Sushi. Still in the box. Another opportunity. Rogstad just turns it a little too much. And once again, it's the second time this week that Lynchburg, in the heat of the moment, might be unable to find the finish. It's another injury
Yeah, second one for Roanoke here in the last 30 seconds. Good serve there by Wellington. She got a lot of height on that corner, and again, she's not typically the one taking corners, although clearly that's in her toolbox. That was a good ball for Lynchburg. Another opportunity for the Hornets that they cannot finish, and it was multiple opportunities on the sequence. The ball goes out for a goal kick, 14 seconds left. If you're Lynchburg, you probably pressure this as much as you can, thinking that Roanoke wouldn't be able to get down and have a legitimate goal-scoring chance in 14 seconds. However, that can change, Evan. If the goal kick goes long, if the goal kick goes to midfield-ish, then you have to really think about hustling back and making sure you don't give up a late goal if you're the Lynchburg Hornets. So still a lot at play. I know sometimes people think the game is over right now, but with the talent, that these keepers have, Sushi in this case, she could put a long boot out there and potentially get something started for Roanoke.
Well, and Rebecca Carr can shoot out of a cannon, and so you really have to mark her on this goal kick. 14 ticks to go. And wow, we're still trying to catch our breath in what has been a phenomenal end to this contest. Let's take another look. It's the IQ from Saja Wellington as well. She is not your normal corner taker for Lynchburg. They don't waste any time. They're not getting anyone else into the corner to take it, and it was still a very good opportunity that Lynchburg doesn't capitalize on. So now, this is the question. Can the Maroons finish the job in what would be a monumental finish? Lynchburg might have space for one more chance, but it's going to have to be a long shot. They file all the way through. There's the clearance. We're going to end up at a tied 1-1 result in what really feels like Lynchburg might have had the goal to finish the job on the platter, on the table, but they can't indulge tonight. It is a very close and physical matchup between Lynchburg and Roanoke that goes 90 minutes without any separation. 1-1 the final scoreline, and Kyle, it feels like it was so evenly played until the final 10 or so minutes. You see the first goal from Roanoke to get the party started with MC Petroselli. And then Lynchburg on the other end, Sammy Rogstad, a signature shot that ties it up.
Fantastic stuff all the way around. Second draw of the season for Lynchburg. Third draw for Roanoke. Yeah, Rogstad there with the Lynchburg goal, and of course she had a chance. She had the ball on her left foot at the very end, just couldn't get a clean strike. It's another one in hindsight. You could say, well, maybe one pass extra there, but in one of those late scrambles, you cannot fault Rogstad for taking another rip. And I don't think you can fault either team on the energy and effort side. I really think, and you could see it at the end, both teams completely gassed. They let it all hang out in this one. You can say it's a well-earned, hard-fought draw for Roanoke, and I think the phrase applies for Lynchburg as well. I know you always want to win at home. Looks like there's some frustration on the Lynchburg sideline right now. But this Roanoke team was a game and ready opponent for the Lynchburg Hornets. They're better than their record indicates. We knew that going in, and it was confirmed here after 90 minutes on the turf at Schellenberger.
Well, and even with that frustration on the Lynchburg side, you got to understand you liked your chances. You created opportunities for yourself, and ultimately, it's probably going to be a light day or an off day tomorrow because there were a lot of collisions, and you're not going to have that every single matchup. And so learning to play in that style and learning to fight is something that Coach Olson's squad is just going to have to continue to progress in throughout the season, and it's still very early in October.
We said the rebound after Wednesday was going to be tough from the mental and physical side. I think probably the same way after this one, and that's sports in a nutshell, right? Because very few teams, and I'll say none, are going to win every game. So everybody's going to have to taste a defeat, or in this case, taste a draw. And how do you respond from that? How do you bounce back? The bounce back, always more important than the fall, and I don't think you can call it a fall in this one for Lynchburg. Obviously, a draw is a better result than a loss. Just always, those draws always leave something lacking. Even for the soccer coaches, Todd Olson, how many of these has he had in his history? Even he would say, still, it just feels weird when you get the draw, and especially when Lynchburg felt like they were so close.
Especially against familiar opponents. But guess what? The ODAC slate is just getting started. Two teams that have ODAC opponents on the schedule, as Roanoke will be traveling back to the Hill City on Wednesday to face Randolph. That's a 7 o'clock start time. Lynchburg has their work cut out for it, going up against the defending ODAC champs in Virginia Wesleyan. That's on Tuesday at 6 o'clock, a long road trip for the Hornets. And after a win today, Virginia Wesleyan sitting just 2-3-3, but as this Roanoke team has indicated, the record can be pretty deceiving. It's been a great one in the Hill City. We're glad that you followed along, and a very close contest once again. So we have men's soccer at 7 o'clock. We hope you join us in that contest as the Hornets take on the Randolph-Macon Yellow Jackets. On behalf of the entire LHSN crew and our director, Ethan Morotsky, he is Kyle Haney, and I'm Evan Gates saying so long from the Hill City.